right, we have someone with us, so I'm going to get our poll going live while people join. I see we have 2 people so far. Hi, everybody. So here is our first poll. This is our Engage E-Learning Balloonist. So we have our guest specialist with us, and I'm Annie from WAI. So while we wait just a few more minutes for more people to join, you can go ahead and answer that poll. Awesome. I have 2 people who have answered. All right, we'll keep that poll up for a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get started because we have a tight schedule today. Just a reminder, we're going to go through our customs. So last time we went over this, we're going to do this every time. Our guidelines are that we respect everyone. We are recording for internal use. Please use the Q&A. Be thoughtful about your questions. Raise your hand. You can ask a question live and use reactions. Let's see some reactions now, if anyone would like to add some. Yes, thank you. Awesome. I see some hearts. And the last most important is to have fun. All right, here is our agenda. We're going to do quick introductions. I have Kim Magee here. She's our guest specialist. She'll start with a Q&A and our hot air balloon activity. Then we have featured specialist, Buse Uyan. She is from Turkey, and Joyce Beckwith is from Kenya. Last, we'll have our activity raffle and closing announcements. With us tonight, we have myself. I am the manager of youth programs for WAI. Kelly Murphy, Jabali, Kandula, Jabali. You have to speak. Make sure they can see you. Otherwise, I don't know if they.
Hi, guys.
There you are. And Trish Steinecke, who is our conference and events coordinator. All right. Kim, you can take it away. I'm going to go on mute. Kim Magee is with us. She's a world record holder balloonist. She'll tell you all about her records that she has. And she's also the co-founder and vice president of the Balloon Training Academy. Here we are, Kim. It's all yours.
Thanks, Annie. Hi. As Annie said, I'm a balloonist, so I fly hot air balloons, and yes, they do require a pilot's license just like any other aircraft. So we go through all the same fun testing that all the other, airplanes, helicopters, and gliders do. I do this in my free time. I have a boring job, and I do balloons for fun on the side, just because I love it so much. And so the Balloon Training Academy I teach people how to fly. So that's one of my big passions, is teaching people how to fly and getting other people involved in the sport, especially ballooning, but any forms of aviation. We need more females and definitely more young people involved in the sport. So there are a lot of different aspects to ballooning that people don't realize. So I've taken just a couple pictures from things I've done in the recent past. So the picture on the left is actually I'm inflating a balloon in Taiwan. We have a fun monkey head shaped balloon, and that's allowed us to travel all over the world with it. And so that's one of the fun things that you don't really get the opportunity to do in other forms of aviation. Balloons are a commodity, and they're lots of fun and draw big crowds, and people love to watch them. And so they actually paid us to go to Taiwan. They paid to ship our balloon over there, and had crew there to help us set up every day. And we got to go over there and stand up for crowds, and we got to go fly and land amongst the pineapple fields and have lots of fresh pineapple every day. And then another fun form of ballooning is competition. A lot of people don't realize that balloons are highly steerable. And you can, our competition, so we call them balloon races, but it's actually a race to a point, not a race to, to the finish line. So we steer our balloon by going up and down. And if you go up in altitude, you usually, in the Northern Hemisphere, you go to the right a little bit. If you go down, you go to the left. So we use the properties of a hot air balloon. That hot air rises to add heat to our balloon to go up. And then, as Annie will show a diagram later, we have an opening in the top center of our balloon that we can pull open, and it'll let hot air out, and we come down. And what we do is we throw bean bags with a fabric tail, and that's an X that they put out in a field. And you can see all the balloons behind me coming into that target there. And we all get, I mean, there are people who get within inches of the center, and there'll be, 20, 30, 40 bags in the center of an X, so they are highly steerable, and we can play around in the sky and have fun, just like, you would steer an airplane. You just don't have a steering wheel. You just have to use it with up and down. So it's a kind of a different thought process, but it's a lot of fun. And that's taken me all over the world as well. So I've represented Team USA in 3 international competitions, 2 in Poland and 1 in Lithuania.
Wow, that's really awesome. Super cool. Thanks, Kim.
So my big thing, that my headline, I have 6 world records and 9 national records in balloons. And this is something I like talking to especially females about, because we have a distinct advantage over males in this category because we tend to be lighter. And ballooning, a lot of aviation is all about weight, and especially records are about, the smaller you are, or the less things you take up in the air, the higher, further, and longer you can fly. So the picture of me on the right is flying a really, really small balloon that most of the men in ballooning would not even be able to take off from because they're too heavy to fly it. And so I'm a very small, petite person, and that's why I decided to do the records, is because I wanted to use me being a female and me being small to my advantage, that, I can go after these things that other people don't even have the opportunity to do. And so there I'm just flying a balloon that doesn't have a basket. What you see is a propane tank strapped to my back, and I'm kind of strapped in like a race car. I have a 5-port harness and a little fold-out seat underneath my bottom, and my legs dangle, so I could kind of kick my legs like I was on a roller coaster while I was flying.
Wow.
And what you see is actually, because of the hot air, I got to throw in some science because I'm a science geek in my day job. When the hot air, it's super cold, and when you heat it up, it condenses and it creates water droplets. So I was actually creating little clouds, little puffballs of clouds in the sky as I flew every time I used the burner to add heat to my balloon.
Oh, that's so cool. I was wondering if that's what the picture was showing there.
Yeah, by the end of my flight, I had over 15 pounds of extra water in my balloon because of all the condensation that I had created. There's a lot of water that was in there. And then this flight on the left is, I did a long flight across the state of, basically across the state of Iowa. I launched in South Dakota and landed in the far southeast corner of Iowa, the diagonal direction, so the longest distance I could go. And so that was really fun because I had, the big passenger jets flying underneath me. I flew just over top of one of the major airports, and I could talk to all the airlines. And something that balloons don't normally get to do is I got to fly over top of clouds. So I was up at about 16,000 feet for that one. And not a lot of people can say they've been in an open cockpit at that high, but balloonists can, and it's a lot of fun. So you can see I have some extra oxygen feeding through my nose there, so that allows me to be able to breathe up there. But it was a ton of fun. It was a little cold, but the sun actually keeps you really warm at that altitude. And with ballooning, you don't have any breeze in your face, and that's usually the coldest part of any weather. So when you're going with the wind, I was traveling at almost 70 miles an hour in this picture, but you can't tell because I couldn't feel it. If I looked down, you could kind of see how fast you were going. But yeah, it was really cool to be going that fast and almost feel like you're standing still because you have no wind. It's really cool.
That's super cool. And it looks so beautiful up there. Is it really peaceful?
It's very peaceful. Yeah, it's kind of unlike any other aircraft that, I mean, the only noise you hear up there is the burner. So anytime I activate the burner to go up in altitude or to keep my altitude the same, that's the only time, the silence is broken. I'm like, I don't have the noise of an engine. I don't have, anything else interrupting. So it's really peaceful and it's very cool and surreal to be flying above the clouds with, no noise.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Do you want to share the video?
Sure, yeah.
Your flights? Here we
So
go.
here's it's just a short video I took just so you can kind of see what I experienced. This is at 16,000 feet. I was over the northwest corner of Iowa, and so I think there should be sound to it, and you're probably hearing the sound. There's just nothing. So I will stop talking so you can hear. You'll hear me sniffle because it was very cold. That's about it.
Hear this sound. I may need to reshare. So 1 second.
Oh, there's not a whole lot of sound, so
Let's try that. Yep. All right, let's restart it. You hear it now?
there's the burner. Yeah, so it's something, everybody else was getting a nice dreary day in Iowa, dreary winter day, and I got to enjoy beautiful warmth and sunshine above the clouds. So it was it was a cool experience.
Wow, it's amazing. And how cold is it up there when you're up there? Like, what's the temperature? I saw you had, like a hood.
Yeah, yeah. So that particular day was probably in the negative 30s up at altitude. When I was flying the smaller balloon was much colder. I was in North Dakota, in Fargo, North Dakota in January. And I think it was about negative 50 up at altitude when I was flying the other balloon. So this one felt very warm. But honestly, with the sun was beating on you, you don't notice that cold. It was cold enough that I had brought a little insulated lunch bag with a heat pack in it to put my water bottle and granola bars in, so they wouldn't freeze. And I had taken my water bottle out and set it down in between a drink on one of my fuel tanks. And it was just, in the 2 minutes I had it out, I took a drink again, and there was already some ice crystals in there. And I was like, oh, yes, I need to put that back in.
Oh my goodness.
But it didn't feel that cold, so I totally forgot about it.
There we go. Does anyone have any questions? Our Q&A is live. You're welcome to type a question for us while Kim is with us.
So my recent adventure, which you guys will get a kind of a taste in later, I built my own balloon. So there are a ton of things you can do in ballooning, and I like to try my hand at anything. I like to, you never know what you will like or won't like until you try something. So I think it's always worth trying things new to see what new passions you might find. So I am able to inspect and repair balloons. And so I took on this big project of sewing my own balloon. And it was really rewarding. It was very long and tedious, but it's very rewarding to see something so big and so cool, be finished.
Oh my goodness, it's beautiful too. So we actually have a question for you, and I'm going to click answer live. It says, what is a hot air balloon made of?
Good question. A hot air balloon is made of ripstop nylon. And so it's something you'll see similar to like tents or parachutes, skydivers. It's the same thing skydivers use, except ours are, they have a coating on the inside that helps keep the air in so it doesn't seep through the fabric. Like if you hold up a blanket, you kind of blow through it or your pillowcase. Well, we put a coating on the inside that kind of makes all those fibers lock together so the air doesn't go through it. But it's a really lightweight ripstop nylon. And so when you go feel a balloon sometime, it just feels like a tent fabric, like you're going camping.
Wow, it's awesome. And how long did it take you to create it?
Too long. I have the hours detailed out and I can't remember, but I sewed on it just kind of nights and weekends. So it wasn't something I did all the time. I sewed on it when I had free time and it took me a couple months to do. Yeah.
Oh, a couple months seems great. It has
Yeah.
details. I would think that it took a couple years. I think it looks fantastic.
A lot of it is in the prep work. So labeling, there's you can't see them because they've been sewed over now, but I labeled each corner of you'll see the squares, the panels there, and I labeled each corner of the panel so I didn't get turned around and which way was up and down and top and bottom. That's where, when you're putting it all together, that's where it gets confusing. So if you do the prep work ahead of time, it makes it go quicker.
So let's see some reactions if you're ready to see the finished balloon in the air. Oh, I see some. I see some. Here we go. So how proud were you, Kim, when you launched it the first time?
It's very surreal. It's really cool. It's nerve-wracking to fly something that you built, but it's really cool and a very you can be really proud of your handiwork and it's just a unique feeling. I don't think there's anything like it, because you don't typically build cars or from ground up and but if you build your own aircraft, it's a really cool feeling. Balloon, airplane, glider, helicopter, whatever you want to build, it's cool.
I love it. I love it. Do we have any more questions before we start our activity?
I do. Kim, what was your favorite place that you flew over?
Oh, it's a good question. The record flights were a lot of fun, but one of the coolest places I've flown was actually there's a place called the Strado Bowl in South Dakota, and it's where originally the military owned it. It's just a natural, like 400-foot circular hole. It looks like somebody just took a hole punch and punched it into the ground. And it's naturally made. And back in the day, the military used it to test hot air balloons. So that's where we got modern hot air ballooning in the late 1960s. They took off from this bowl, and a couple world record attempts for around the world have taken off in this bowl. And I just flew there for fun. It's kind of near Mount Rushmore, so you can take off and you can see Mount Rushmore in the distance. But when you take off from there, if the wind's going a certain direction, you fly down into a canyon. And wind acts a lot like water. So if you see water flowing through, over rocks and through valleys, the wind does the same thing. And so if you dip down into the canyon, you actually your balloon moves kind of like it's on a roller coaster track. You just fly, this way and that way, and you zigzag around the canyon. And you go pretty fast speeds, and it just kind of spits you out at the end of the canyon when you've reached the valley. And it's a lot of fun.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much, Kim. I hope you stay with us while we go through our activity, because I think you can teach us a lot about making a hot air balloon.
Absolutely. I'm excited to see what we've got made.
So, we have one more poll before we start. Are you old enough to solo in a hot air balloon? So, Kim, how old do you need to be to solo in a hot air balloon, and what age do you need to be to get your hot air balloon license?
Yeah, hot air balloons are one of the youngest, so you only have to be 14 to solo, and 16 to get your license. So you can get it a whole year before you can do an airplane. So it's really cool that if you have an interest in aviation, this is one of the best ways to get into it early. And then, you can explore your love of all forms of aviation. Start with balloons, go elsewhere, or start with balloons and end with balloons.
I love that. Awesome. Thank you. All right. I think we have our results in. So here we go. We're going to make our hot air balloons. It looks like some of us have to wait, and one of us is old enough to solo. Ooh, very nice. All right, so for our hot air balloons, let's get your materials ready. You need tissue paper, colored tissue paper. It's like the party paper that you would use to give a gift, and scissors, glue stick, and paper clips. Now, if anyone knows what are some parts of a balloon, you could raise your hand. Does anyone know a part of a balloon, a hot air balloon? Ooh, Sarah, one more second. All right, Sarah, let's see.
The basket.
Yes, you got it. The basket. Amazing job. So we're actually not going to be making the basket today, but you could make the basket yourself after. We are going to be making the envelope and the skirt of the hot air balloon. So this is a mini hot air balloon, and we're going to start by creating these gores. And then the gores will have like a top, which they call the crown, and the base where we attach the skirt. We are not going to have a parachute valve. Kim, do you want to talk about that a little bit? How does the parachute valve help control the balloon?
Yep. So hot air balloons fly on the simple principle of hot air rises and cold air sinks. So if you capture that hot air, you go up, which is what the burners do. And then when you want to go down, we have this parachute that's essentially like, it literally looks like those old round army parachutes that you see in videos at school. And we have lines attached all around to it. So you pull a line down in the basket and it opens up that parachute and lets out some hot air, and you can seal it back up. And that's how, once you let out that hot air, you'll start descending.
Wow, that's awesome. So simple, but it sounds really fun. Is it kind of similar maybe to sailing when they pull on the, on...
Maybe. I've never been sailing, but yeah, it might be. That sounds similar.
An interesting connection.
It's a lot like the I don't know what the name of the game is called, but where you have the bird who flies and you press you hold the screen to go up and then you let go of the screen and it goes down. It's a lot like that principle where you fly through like the obstacles on the screen.
Oh, very cool. Is that Angry Birds?
I think it's like Flappy Bird and
okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Yes. All right, everybody. So here's my time lapse. This will give you an idea of what we're doing. In the meantime, get all your materials. And if you want, you can even start cutting out your balloon template. Oh, I'm on mute. I'm going to put in the chat the steps so you can do this on your own. And in the meantime, I'm going to also get my screen shared here. Hold on 1 second. First, we'll get the chat. All right, so this one's a little bit more difficult than our Jam and Jet from last time, but here you are. All right, sending it to everybody. There we go. And here is my camera. All right, so first step, show me some emojis if you're ready. Let's cut out that balloon template. So maybe you already started on this. But this is known as the gores. So Kim, do you have anything to tell us about the gores?
So gores are the up and down, and we cut it out like this to make that folded shape, because when we capture that air, all the air wants to go to the top. So the easiest way to make a round thing out of flat is to cut these kind of trapezoidal shapes. So that's why it's a funky shape like that.
And does it kind of create an airfoil similar to what goes over, like when air goes over the wing of an airplane?
So that's actually the top of the balloon is acts kind of similar to an airfoil. If you're going through different wind layers and there's air going over the top of the balloon, it can do that. But when you're going up and down through layers, it'll cut through the wind, just like if you're going faster up and down rather than kind of staying the same level. It'll cut through the wind and it'll, create those little areas of swirling air on the side of the balloon as it pushes that air out of the way.
Perfect. I love it. All right, everybody. So I have 6 pieces of tissue paper here, 2 of each color. I basically just folded 2 sheets in half, and we're going to cut those out too. Make sure you're cutting through all your layers. That's why I use the paper clip. It's holding it all in place for me so that they'll be roughly the same size. There we go. And you can move the paper clip. All right, so we'll get rid of all of our scraps. And the next step, we'll need glue. How are we doing? Do we have any questions? Are we good on our pace? Anyone need me to slow down? All right, so the next step is to separate and basically create your pattern. So I'm doing pink, purple, lime. Pink, purple, lime. Okay, so Kim, you said you labeled the corners of each of yours when you put yours together, and that's how you were able to keep it straight?
I did, yes, but I had a lot more pieces than so I had oh man, I've never actually counted them all, but I had 17 so it was a 15 gores, and I had 17 plus the skirt, so I had 18 panels within each gore. So that's a lot more individual pieces.
Got it.
And they were all kept in laundry baskets on a shelf until I got to them. I put them in laundry baskets by each gore.
Wow.
And sew them together.
So cool. So you're going to get glue and you're going to put it on one edge and then stack the first sheet. And you do have to be kind of careful because tissue paper is a little tricky. And once you have that first sheet stacked, you're going to fold this in half the length of the gore. And then I think it's easier if you flip it and fold it in half this way. And you just want one piece so that it doesn't get real sticky. So you gotta gently open that. And you're gonna repeat this. So it should look like that. You have your two colors, they're stuck together, and then you're going to add your next edge of glue. And basically stack. And then fold. And again, I'm going to flip this that way. Stack. And so now I'm halfway because I'm green and green. So they should be opposite of each other. And I'm going to flip it again so it doesn't get stuck. Two more. All right, one last to flip. And it's okay if the folds are not perfect. We're just using them to help us organize things. And our last score. Here we go. Okay, so now I get to do the really fun part, which is opening it all up. And what I'm actually going to do is press out on the seams. And you may want to check and make sure that you have glue on every seam. Because the idea is that you want it to fill with air. So if you have a little bit of a gap, you may want to just add a little bit more glue. All right, we can already see it starting to shape the balloon. Then we're going to flip it kind of upside down because you want to put glue on this last edge. And this part is a little tricky. Be patient with yourself. You can do it. But you have to kind of flip it inside out. So add a lot of glue there. And then we'll flip it. And you basically flip this one. And then I just kind of wrap it and reach my hands in and pinch the seams. And again, it's okay if it's not perfect. You just want it sealed. So maybe that one's just a little smaller than the other. Right? So reach your fingers in and just kind of pinch that edge so it's glued shut. There we go. The whole balloon is glued. All right, how are we doing? Show me an emoji if you're feeling good, if you want me to pause for a minute while you get caught up. Okay, we're doing good. So next step, use a scrap. It could be any color. I think I'm going to go with pink. And just make sure that it's big enough to fill this hole. So I kind of test it first. Yep, that'll work. And I cut myself a square. And I fold it in half, rectangular, and then this way. And if you cut a little curve, that makes a circle. All right, so it's a little bit of a square circle, but that's okay. You can do any shape too. You could do a star or a heart or anything you'd like on the top. You could even make a circle and then glue your name on top to decorate it.
Draw a smiley face. You can. I've seen all sorts of stuff that people actually do this on their balloons in real life. They have fun things.
And then how do they see them? Is it part of the community you were talking about?
So every time you go to launch a balloon, it actually starts laid over on its side, and then we fill it with what's called cold air first. So we just have a we hold open the bottom at that skirt there, and we call that the mouth when we hold it open. And we fill it, we just turn on a big fan, and a very powerful fan that fills with cold air, which is just, it blows air into it, and that opens it up enough so that we can get the burner in there and not burn the fabric. And then when that's laid over on its side, you can see all the tops. So a lot of people like to put fun stuff on the top, so you can see it when people are on the ground. Same thing when we land the balloon. How we get the air out is there's a rope that's attached all the way from that crown to down to the bottom. And we take that and we'll open that parachute, let all the hot air out. And as it's coming, somebody will pull that rope to pull it straight out so it lays over on its side. So you can see the top then too.
Oh, I love it. Perfect. All right, so I'm measuring now the skirt, and it's actually just about the perfect width of, or I'm sorry, length of your piece of paper there. So that's why I did that. And just cut this. And the reason we're doing this is because it's going to make it stronger. The tissue paper will be less likely to rip. So I'm actually going to fold this in half this way. And you see that seam is going to be more stable than this side. So then we're going to glue that together to make it sturdy. And then this band, we're going to add glue. And what's really easy is if you just roll the edge of your balloon onto it. So a little overlap. And then you just roll a little bit and then add more glue. A little bit more glue here. And then I get to seal it up. So again, the idea is just to make that base a little bit sturdier, because that's where, if you all have a hair dryer, that's where we're going to add our own hot air. All right, so I trimmed off the extra, and then I'm going to seal this up here by just adding some glue. All right, everybody, let's see some emojis if you're ready for the final test. The hair dryer. So do this with your family. Make sure that you have help with it. And what works best actually is if you go outside on a cold day, because then you have the difference in temperature. And when it's actually full, it becomes buoyant. Is that right, Kim?
Yep.
All right, so let's see what happens here. There we go. Whoop.
Ooh.
Took off. So there we go. There's our hot air balloon. Have fun with those. If you need help, because we went a little bit fast, feel free to send me an email and I'll meet with you and make sure you get your balloon made. Okay, here we go. So we have some featured specialists, and it looks like we have time for them. And here we are. So, Buse Uyan, she is a hot air balloon pilot from Turkey. She was not able to join us because it's probably about 2 a.m. her time. And they get up for flights pretty early, but she made us a video to watch. she was the first female to earn a balloon piloting diploma. So the university has a balloon piloting university school, and she got a full scholarship, and that's how she was able to start her career.
Hello everyone, it's such a pleasure to be one of the guest specialists for women in aviation. My name is Buse and I'm an instructor hot air balloon pilot in Cappadocia region of Turkey. I started hot air ballooning business 12 years ago by getting into the hot air balloon piloting department of Cappadocia University with full scholarship. After 2 years of ground classes and flight training, I became the first female balloon pilot in the world graduated from hot air ballooning department of a university. If I need to explain what a hot air balloon is, it's a lighter than air, no steering aircraft that moves with the push of wind. As it doesn't have any steering, we can only change direction by using winds at different altitudes. And that is what makes learning and piloting this aircraft hard. Even though hot air balloons sound cute, people who are interested in or have just begun should consider that they will be flying an aircraft without any steering, and they will have full responsibility of people's lives. At that point, I would recommend a pilot candidate that should be fully aware of the responsibilities of this job, listen well to what the instructors tell and try to apply it in the most correct way, and have environmental awareness, because yours may not to be the only hot air balloon in the sky. Although this job is really difficult, meeting new people from all around the world every day and watching the sunrise with them in the first aircraft that took mankind to the skies feels amazing and makes me love my job. I hope one day you will fly the aircraft of your dreams. Thank you for listening to me. ...2011 senesinde Kapadokya Meslek Yüksekokulu'nda balon pilotluğu bölümünü tam burslu olarak kazandım. 2 sene sonra dünyanın diplomalı ilk kadın balon pilotu olarak mezun oldum.
So we're going to put the rest of this video on Aviation for Girls, and you can watch it. I have one more poll for you. We'll share the results of the last poll. Here we go. And here we are. So now that we've learned a lot, you can take that poll, and I'm going to introduce you to our next featured specialist. This is Captain Joyce Beckwith. She likes to be called Captain Smiles, and she's the first Black female to earn a balloon pilot license. She made this video for us from Kenya, and it is also very, very late her time, and she gets up at 4 a.m. So we'll see what she sent for us.
You might find it funny if I tell you that I grew up very scared of helicopters. Basically anything that was flying. It used to fascinate me, and I was wondering, how can that thing fly? My day starts at 4 a.m. I wake up, I prepare myself, and then I go for a cup of tea at this beautiful lodge in Kikorok, where my base operation is. I do my flight planning, checking the loads, the weather. Today I was concerned about fog because there's been a lot of rain. So I looked at it. The weatherman said it is clear to fly, and therefore
cool.
I went.
I have silence for a moment, please.
When I get there, I start doing my flight checks. Of course, here I want to check every burner to make sure that every burner is working. And at this moment in ballooning, we do a lot of listening, a lot of touching, feeling, And, as a pre-flight check, as a captain, I need to check everything. Basically, just like double check everything, make sure that my ground crew or my ground support team have done a very good job at, preparing the basket. I will go around checking every connection, every tie down to the aircraft. And this is maybe around 6:30. And then when I'm ready, I call for my briefing.
My name is Captain Joyce Beckwith, but you can also call me Captain Smiles. I love that. And welcome. So today we are about to start our safari this morning.
At this moment, I am explaining procedures, landing procedures, and what to do during any kind of emergency during the flight until we land. I'm also looking at the passengers and making sure everybody is comfortable. After that, I get into the envelope. I am looking at the deflation system. I am making sure all the pulleys, all the locks, everything is settled.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Captain Joyce Beckwith, or you can call me Captain Smiles. I am a hot air balloon pilot, a commercial hot air balloon pilot in Masai Mara, Kenya, and I'm just about to get into my office and fly this morning, and I cannot wait for you guys to come fly with me. I cannot wait for you ladies to join my industry as well. It is fun, it is so cool to fly the hot air balloon as a commercial pilot, as a sport balloonist, or only just as a hobby.
I'm always super excited in the morning, just the excitement of being in the sky, the excitement of knowing how to fly this amazing aircraft that I never knew about. I never knew how it existed until I came to Masai Mara. So as I do my final check, I am ready, everything is settled, and we're just a few minutes before we are buoyant enough and, take off and, be free. Fly. It's so exciting. I just start my day by living the dream of my greatest role model, who it is my dad, who put this dream in me that I should start flying. Me, who was once so scared of anything that could fly, I couldn't believe that I could have my own wings. And I overcame all this by creating my own space as a young commercial air pilot, proposing a damn good business proposal to my employer, and conquering my own fears to do this. That is so exciting and most favorite part of my job, because I am living a dream that it wasn't even mine, and overcoming so many barriers that is surrounding all of us as girls, as women of power. Hey! But let me tell you, all we have to do is believe in ourselves and overcome every boundary by being very good employees, and playing a great role of pilot in command, of engineer in command, of ground support team and flight crew in command. And aviation is such a huge industry that there's so many things that you could explore in as a hobby balloonist, even, as a hobby, skydiver. I think that's also aviation, right? My own passion of tourism and showcasing Kenya inspired me to be a hot air balloon pilot today. And I am my own inspiration. I am my own role model before I am anyone else's role model, And I continue to learn every day and be inspired as well, and have role models in this aviation industry. And it's all the other women who came before me to fly in Masai Mara, in different parts of Masai Mara. It's very challenging, high winds, huge aircrafts. I don't even fly the biggest aircraft myself. I'm still learning, you know. But even other women who fly military aircrafts, who fly to rescue, to save lives, those are people who inspire me to do what I do. And the greatest heights that I have achieved, I am the first Black woman to fly hot air balloons in the world. I worked so hard, not knowing that that is actually achievable until after I did it. So my advice is the world is ours, and as aviators, the sky is not that high. Let us go. Let us explore the way upwards. Currently, I am dreaming of one day flying helicopters so I can finally conquer that fear completely. And I want to leave you with the dream of one day landing on Mars, because they need women on Mars.
Touchdown.
So, yeah, dream in exploring this aviation world in different ways. And I think women, girls, if we are allowed to explore our minds, our brilliance, we can do amazing things in this world. So let's do it. I'm really honored to have been part of this year's Women in Aviation International and to speak to you today. So thank you very much. I'm really honored. Asante sana.
I hope you guys have enjoyed this short video of my day on how I work, and I hope you get to come and fly with me, and or even get to fly. There's always a balloon, a hot air balloon club anywhere close to you, in Europe, in America. If you see a balloon, please go and help, go and learn something, little things about it. It's wonderful, it's brilliant, it's such a dope job for me, and of course for anyone else who would like to get into this industry. I want to shout out the girls in aviation, and of course Women in Aviation International for choosing me to do this. I would really like to thank you so much. And also happy International Women in Aviation Day. Really pleased to set the goals and the standards high up. You know what? The sky is actually not that high. Dream to touch it.
The world is not in your books and maps. It's out there.
You might find
Go to the next one. So that brings us to raffle time. I hope you liked all of our speakers. I'm so thankful that we were able to have Kim Magee with us, our world record holder, and Buse was able to make us a video, and Joyce too. So all of those will go on the Aviation for Girls app, and you can watch them again later. So some of you entered in the activity raffle. We are going to pull the raffle winners. There are 3 winners that we'll pull, and they will each receive a $50 gift card to the Princess Awesome store. So you can go check it out. I'm actually going to have Jabali pull our first raffle. So I'm going to hold on one second. Let me see if I can spotlight you. Yeah, here we go. All right. She is on spotlight. All right, Jabali, let's see who the first winner is.
Okay. We have a lot of people in here. The first one is Kate F.
Oh, nice. Kate F is our first winner.
I don't know if you can see
She
it.
colored in an X1 from NASA. All right.
And
Do you want to pull the second one and then I'll pull the last one?
Yep. Okay. And our second winner is Arnor B.
Harnor is one of our Connect News anchors. So she'll love that.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Jabali, for helping. All right, I have the last one to pull. Let's see. Who will it be? I'm gonna close my eyes. Okay. The last one is Jillian W. There we go. So we have our winners. We'll post those on Aviation for Girls app in the morning. Does anyone have any closing questions for Kim while she's still with us? And Kim, I would love it if you shared about your balloon training academy. If anyone was interested in getting into hot air balloons, it sounds like you have the perfect start.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested, you can find us online, balloontrainingacademy.com, or we're on Facebook, Instagram. Just send us a message, and we can help you start with your training or connect you with somebody who's local to you. If, like Joyce said, if you ever see a balloon in the sky and want to follow it to where it lands, balloonists always love to talk about ballooning and getting other people in. So it's we're always welcoming of people who want to get into ballooning or learn more about it. But if you're interested, just shoot us a message, and if we're not close enough to help out, we will definitely be able to find you somebody who is.
I love that. Thank you so much, Kim. I'm definitely gonna try and find a balloonist near me. So just a few reminders. Our next youth programs is our Aviation for Girls Connect News. So any junior member can participate and be an anchor. If you'd like to be an anchor, just email us at aviationforgirls@wai.org. If you made a hot air balloon, I'd love for you to send a picture. We can post it on the app. And I'd just love to see what you did. Let me know how it worked. And also in our Connect News, we celebrate each other. So if you have been on a discovery flight recently, passed a written test, received a STEM award, done a solo flight, or even earned a certificate, we will celebrate you on our Connect News. If you have not seen the Connect News yet, it's right on the events page at Aviation for Girls app. So click on events and you can watch it. And just so you know, save it. We have our youth programs. This is our schedule for the year. So next we have in April our Connect News. You can look forward to that coming out. And in May, we will see you again for a webinar with the theme Science in Space. All right, everybody, if we can have a last round of reactions. We're so thankful that you're able to join us. So thankful that Kim was here as our specialist. I love these reactions. Thank you. And just remember that we're here for you. So like Kim said, if you're interested, send us an email. We're here to help you. We want to make you get you to your dreams too. All right. Bye, everybody. See you next time.